Woody. Yikes. Oof, just saw the instant replay of Woody falling. Not great. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Travis Snell, and welcome back to the GeekVerse podcast. This is, who knows what it is. Is this a rant or repeat? Is this it's still real media? I don't know, because you know what? It's an all-in review. I've been trying to keep up the wrestling content, but life has been busy. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so I talk about it sporadically here and there. You know, I'm a huge fan. But with big events, I'm going to cover them and do them. All In has just happened. So this is an event that obviously has a lot going for it as far as just general fan hype. A year ago, Dave Meltzer said some statement on Twitter of, hey, a fan asked, could ROH or what, not a combination of ROH and New Japan sell a 10,000 arena? He said, not in any time soon, not in the near future, something like that. Cody says, I'll take that bet. Here we are. All In's happened. It was phenomenal. Now, this is what I want to preference before, because I don't do much wrestling content, so if you're a GeekVerse fan, then you kind of know. If not, you're tuning in for the first time. You might not know. I am, and I have been, a huge WWE fan my whole life. My grandparents always said I watched when I was 6 months old. I started watching New Japan last year, right after the G1. And then I kind of dabble in ROH, and I've been more in independence because WWE for me was just not floating my boat. I still like it, and that's going to be a big theme of tonight, where to start off the bat, you don't got to bring down one thing to raise the other. There's things I like in WWE more, there's things I like in New Japan more, and there's things in All In that I like more. And this is a completely different product than WWE. We at one point in the night had inflatable penises walk out and carry a man outside a ring. This is not a substitution, but this is an alternative. That's the easiest way, and I think it's been said before, it's an alternative. And that's saying you can like both of them, but that's what I want to preface before this review, that I don't even, people like Matt Cross. Never seen a Matt Cross match before in my life, but I have been dabbling in the past year. I've been a big fan of what they've been doing, whether it is New Japan, whether it is, I don't watch that much Ring of Honor, to be honest, it's mostly New Japan, but being the Elite, what they've done, even just their social media presence. So this show has been building for quite a while. I've been excited. I wanted to go to the show. Things did not work out, but I wanted so badly to go to the show. So it's this thing of, it kind of had to be a hit, and I can say it's phenomenal, but at the same time, say that there were some problems with the show, and that's what I want to get into as far as just fan reaction. It's just, I saw not a lot actually, it was good, a lot of people would call them out, but a lot of just like, oh, this would never fly in WWE, or, we do this so much better than WWE. You can love the show, but know that it was not perfect. This is their first time doing things. I think there were some pacing problems as far as the match bookings. I think you look at the final match, felt very rushed. But overall, I watched this for 6 hours. And from now on, in this, I'm going to try my very best not to talk about WWE, because it's just like, this is its own thing. And it was a great night, because I watched this for 6 hours. It blew by. And that sometimes doesn't happen with other wrestling promotions. And that's what I was looking at. I was looking for wrestling to blow by. And it has everything. It has your big moments of the night, so big entrances, big wins, title changes, surprises. It has great matches. Specifically, I'd say Kenny and Penta and Marty Scurll and Okada. And there's other good matches. Those matches were great, and I'd even throw in Joey versus Hangman Page. That was a fucking car wreck, and not in like a bad match. Joey Janela, this is my first time seeing a full match of his. He reminded me of Mick Foley back in the day. I'll get into it. He seemed like he had Death Wish. Had comedy, had drama, and this felt like a finale to what they've been building to on being the Elite. And that's one thing I liked, and that's one thing you have to, I think some people gave it flack of, this isn't a mainstream show, and that's why I like it. They are not trying to be the #1 wrestling promotion. They are trying to do the best with what they have, and that sounds bad, but no, they have their fan base, their core hardcore fan base. They want to bring people more in, obviously, but those are the people that sold that arena, that are buying the shirts, that are giving the views on YouTube. They want to talk to them and pertain to them, and that's what I felt that, for me watching New Japan, watching little ROH, and then watching all Being in the Elite, following up all the storylines, following them on Twitter, seeing that continue, whether it's Hangman Page killing Joey Ryan, or the Golden Elite, or Cody's journey, if you've been watching the NWA documentaries they've been doing, this felt like, and because All In is a one-time event, it's not like a WrestleMania where you have Raw, SmackDown. They have ROH and they have New Japan, but they can't dictate what those companies are doing. But they can dictate what Being the Elite does, their YouTube show. And this felt like a finale to that. This felt like, I compared it to the Deadpool of wrestling. And that's very much like Deadpool. Deadpool's never going to be your Batman or Spider-Man. It's never going to be up there. Well, it is pretty popular. But, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's still... Those characters like a Superman will probably withstand the test of time, where Deadpool can go ebbs and flows. Maybe it's a little raunchy for some people. If Ryan Reynolds retires, you could take a break. But it has this niche, it's not even a niche, and that's kind of what this is, the same thing. It started as a niche and it's growing, but it has a select audience that loves and enjoys Deadpool. That's what this is. At one point in the match, there was a Cracker Barrel used as a weapon. If you're watching it for the first time ever, you don't get that. But as a fan, you get that. Whether it's Marty talking to the finger guys in the back, like, and he breaks the fingers. And that was one of the things where someone's like, oh man, if the people did this WWE, they give them so much shit. There's context to all this stuff. They've been building for it to months. And that's what it felt so meta at times. And it felt great. And yeah, they do that. Maybe you don't like that. But if you do, my chair is apparently going to break. So if it just falls, then that's how I died. If you like that, they do such a great job. Whether it's certain characters coming in, I guess wrestlers, superstars, things like that from the past or the present, setting up little Easter eggs. Fucking Pharaoh, Cody Rhodes' dog, walked down to the ring with him. If you watch Being the Elite or social media, they use him all the time. He was on the All-In posters, blah, blah, blah. Like, just little stuff like that brought a smile to my face, and it felt like they cared. And that's not saying any other wrestling promotion doesn't. I'm just saying this just felt like this had so much heart and so much thought and so much care put into it that I enjoyed it the whole 6 hours. I was never bored. I think I checked my phone a few times, and I don't even know if they were during matches. I think maybe during one match, and I thought they did a good job. And yeah, not everything. I'll get to the cons. I have cons where I thought this was not a perfect show that could have been tweaked a little bit better, or maybe that match should have been placed there, or maybe this one didn't work, and I have a big one coming up, and I won't talk about that until I get there, so you can stay tuned. But because it felt like they were taking so much care with this event, I enjoyed the hell out of it. It flew by. When it ended, I was not exhausted. And that can even happen with even New Japan shows, and this is because this is a special one-time event. They cannot do this every time. If you do an All-In 2, or let's say for some reason Cody and the Young Bucks, they start their own promotion, this is not going to happen every time. But this is a special event, and they made it feel special, and it felt earned. There was moments I had goosebumps, whether it was matches, whether it was characters meeting up, movie review mode, superstars, wrestlers meeting up, whether it is moments like Cody winning the title, things they had been building up to for months, and they paid it off, and it felt great. And it's the thing of, maybe we never get an All-In 2. I think we're gonna. This seemed like a success, but if this was just a one-time event, they made it memorable, and I was never bored. They put in lots of great stuff in there that made me thrilled to watch a match, got a laugh, and it felt that everything I've been watching and taking in, I did not feel empty at the end of it. Like, oh, this was for nothing, or oh, really a big dud there. Yeah, some things didn't go off perfectly, and there's some matches that I think really suffered, two in particular, because of just maybe first time booking the show, like Young Bucks and Cody, and I'm not sure who else is in there, but let's say it's just those three. This is their first time running a show, and there's certain things like with the opening match, for me, that's one thing I really enjoy, is a very fiery opening match, and I thought, I'm not going to talk about, 0 Hour, Canada didn't get it. I caught the mere ending of the over the budget battle royal, and that was good stuff from what I saw. I heard it was lots of fun, but glad Flip got the win there. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the opening match I thought was really good, but I didn't think it was a balls to the walls. I like opening matches that just set the crowd on fire. I thought it was really good, but it's too, and for myself, never seen any of these guys wrestle. That could be the case for a lot of people in there. I know the people in the crowd are probably a lot more independent wrestling savvy than me, but even people watching, it's okay. People we don't really know, people not on Being the Elite, yeah, they've been introduced on American Nightmare, Cody's channel, whatnot, but for me, I thought maybe a different opener would have been happening. Still a very good match, and that's what I'm going to transfer talking in the show, but overall, I enjoyed the hell out of this show. There's some problems, but I think if you're a longtime fan of this stuff, of Being the Elite, Young Bucks, Cody, Kenny Omega, Mary Scurll, Hangman Page, that whole gang of people, this is heaven. Like I said, this is Deadpool. It's so meta, it's so Easter eggy, it's so much fun, laid with great matches. Like, there's times where, yeah, it's over the top, and there's penises carrying people out, but then you have just this great brutal match with Kenny and Penta, or this machismo, like macho guy trying to prove himself, like with Marty Scurll trying to be like, I'm as good as you, Okada, and Okada being like, I don't think so, and then him slowly earning his respect. It had, the way I can describe it for me, and maybe you can disagree and let me know in the comments, I felt like it had something for everybody. And that's the thing, if you don't really like comedy, then there's times where it was a little too much, and I could understand that. But in wrestling, if you're kind of trying to put on a show that entertains everybody, it's not just, because I don't think you can look in the show and just be like, oh, it's too comedic, or it's just too spot heavy, or it's too just wrestling, or too non-characters. I think they did, each match served a purpose, and loved the show, had a very great time. Let's talk about it. So MGF versus Matt Cross. Like I said, never seen these people. I was introduced to MGF on Cody's channel when he did that little, I don't know, kind of highlight of him because he was a new guy and stuff. You're like, who is he? I thought it was a good match. It was a good opener. Like I said, I think I would have switched it. I'm not, and that's the problem. I don't know what I would have put there as the opener. I almost would have went with Hangman and Joey. But the thing is, they wanted that. Even that, I still think the Joey thing could have happened. Maybe they didn't want inflatable penises in the first half an hour wrestling show, so I get that. But that's maybe what I would have put there. You maybe could have put the 6-man tag there, which main evented, which I know sounds weird, but I just think that would have been a fiery start in the way the 6-man tag ended. Kind of that peeved me a little. So, but this was a good match. Matt Cross, not much character, just very fine-tuned, great body, looking jacked. MGF, I liked his character. He just reminds me of just like a college hoity-toity, like rich boy, almost like, not necessarily Harvey in the way that he's super smart, but just the guy who his dad's paid for everything. He's got that. He portrayed that well. He was a piece of shit. In the ring, he was good. There was some times where it seemed like not the smoothest. He did this great pile driver where he was on the ropes. And he did like the way guys like Randy Orton when he does a draping DDT, and obviously he does a DDT. He did that with a pile driver. Lots of pile drivers tonight, very scary all the time, but that was cool. But yeah, I don't have much to say. I thought it was a good opener, but I think I still could switch it. But I liked seeing new talent. That reminded me a lot of old NXT, where now you have people like, other than Dream, you got Ricochet, you got Adam Cole, you got Aleister Black, you got all these people that are very established elsewhere, and they're coming into NXT to make it a bigger brand. Where the first takeovers, there were a lot of people where you seeing in the early stages of their career, where I think they said MGF was maybe 3 years. I could be wrong, but I thought they said he was 3 years into it. Like I said, I could have been wrong, but he still is newer to it. He's younger, but I like seeing that. And it reminds me of, I was not watching it that much at the time, but when I go back and watch it, ECW, when you saw people like a Jericho come in versus Taz, he had no hype whatsoever, but it's cool seeing them in the early stages. So I don't know if I'm going to keep my eyes on them. MGF I like from a character standpoint, so I would very much like to see him again. Matt Cross, I liked him, but he didn't leave any impression on me, but MGF I would like to keep an eye on and see. So that's a good match. I'm not going to do star ratings for matches, this and that. I'll give it overall rating for the event at the end, but yeah, and the crowd, I guess, and here's one thing I will say as far as from a technical standpoint, there's only a few times where people use the mics, like Jericho used the mic, and then I do feel that the crowd wasn't mic'd the best, and this could be because this is our first time doing a big show like that, but I read a tweet where someone said like when Cody won the title, the crowd exploded. The crowd was loud when I was watching, but it didn't feel like oh my god, like it felt, yes, he won, but I didn't get the explosion feel, but I saw that from a few people, so I think there was a few kinks like that were obviously, it's your first time doing a big show like that, so, and the other reason why I'm bringing up technical, because I think they got better as the night went on, but with MGF and Matt Cross, there was a few times where stuff was going on they would cut. When Matt Cross came out, he did an entrance and he went to go throw up his arm. Right when he threw his arm, they cut to just his name on the Titantron. It's like, okay. There's one moment where MGF was getting close to the camera to go blow a kiss, and they cut away. So it was just obviously trying to figure things out, but from a technical standpoint, there were little hiccups like that throughout the night. If they do this again, it'll get better, more crisper. But there were times where it's like, okay, that takes me out of a better, that's a little off, so. Second match, Christopher Daniels versus Stephen Amell. I was surprised that it was second. I'm not sure. I almost would have thought you would have put that third. I think it was good now. In retrospect, well, so, I would say was good. Because no matter what, at first I thought maybe put the women's match and then this, and because you don't want to turn away the hardcore fans. But the hardcore fans are going to be in for this. They're going to be fans of Christopher Daniels. They're going to be fans of Stephen Amell because, one, he is not a bullshit celebrity, and I think we know that. I don't, even in WWE when he wrestled at SummerSlam, I didn't get that vibe. I don't think other people did. But I think when a celebrity does this much work and he is bringing attention to the brand, whether it's his face on the poster, him at wrestling in an actual match, someone like myself, the bullshit meter does not exist. Because like, this guy's a fan, and he proves it with, I know I'm jumping ahead, but he lost. I was talking about this with someone of, Stephen Amell to me is the guy who wants to go out there, put out good matches possible, have some fun, but he loves the business, he's a fan, and he's going to want to lose. And then at the end they do that, oh, Christopher Daniels raised their arm, and you know what, he's really tough, but you know, he's still a celebrity, he can't do it. That's exactly what happened. And maybe that's why I liked it so much, because I got what I wanted. But to me, that's what, if I was an outsider, if I was, you know, GeekVerse came in, if we were a huge pop and like, oh, we want you to come in, I would never want to beat a wrestler one-on-one like that. It'd be different if CML, like, this is going to be a career, blah, blah, but these are one-offs for him. I thought he put in a good enough work. I think he had, I'm going to take a water break. Water. You know, you almost need like a button so you can hit and then keep talking, and I don't know. That's the only thing I hate about Solocast is water breaks. It's tough. There's no good transition. They're always awkward. Pain in the keister. I think Stephen Amell got a little too much offense at the beginning of the match. He was just kind of, I won't say destroying Christopher Daniels, but he was on like white on rice. I thought we were going to get more Christopher Daniels out wrestling him, embarrassing him. Maybe Stephen Amell would get a good punch in, Christopher Daniels would get cocky and screw up. They did that a little bit at the beginning, and then they did some chain wrestling, so that could be some fan fulfillment for Stephen Amell. So that's my one complaint about this match. The other one is, obviously, there's some spots that didn't look the prettiest. At one moment, Stephen Amell went for a roll up and it was a little off timed. I think when Daniels went for the best moonsault ever, I couldn't tell if Daniels overshot it, but I was assuming by the looks of it that Amell was just a bit too close. So there were, I think, 3 or 4, maybe 5 instances where there was noticeable, like, kind of, you know, you effed up moments. But this crowd, they're into it. They like it. And that's what I was saying before of placing with the women's match, that I think this can be second, because for me, the placing is, you're trying to keep mainstream people. Obviously, they pay. If you paid for it, you're going to sit and watch. But maybe you're at a buddy's place. Maybe you did just, I don't know, maybe they're playing at bars. I've seen that at bars. Stephen Amell, oh, that guy from Arrow, I know him. He's a hot hunk guy. So maybe someone's wife, like, oh, I know that guy. So that makes you more inclined to sit. So it being second actually makes sense now in retrospect. But at first I was like, oh, would this turn people away? But I think that's more of a kind of a WWE thing, because you're trying to get the hardcore fans nowadays to sit through stuff, right? And that's where the hardcore fans are going to sit through this no matter what, because they're being the elite. It's a smaller, much smaller crowd than WWE. So that's where I can say, okay, that makes sense, go second. But yeah, a little splotchy, good finish, good bump for Stephen Amell going to the table. That was fun. And he pulled off coast to coast. That was good. I thought he was going to get interrupted, but he didn't. And good job, because what? Shane, RVD, not many people can do it. And even them sometimes it's a little tough. Shane, I'm always worried he's never going to make it. So it was good for what it was. I think it could have been maybe just a minute or 2 shorter. Stephen Amell's gear looked great, so that was awesome. Could have been a minute or 2 shorter, and I think I would have switched up Amell getting so much offense. But whatever, at the end of the day, I think what he brings is more important than him or not getting more offense. I guess I'm just looking out for the wrestler, but if you want to get some more, not even that, even with him, like, get some offense, play wrestler, do it, because he's done a lot. He's always promoting, like, he promoted All In. He was one of the first ones confirmed for it, so really, he can do whatever he wants. He could have won if he wanted, because he's helped them quite a bit. So, yeah, so that was good. Like I said, that was good for what it was. Is that going to be in any match of the year? No. Could someone say it's one of the worst matches of the year as far as high profile? I think you could, as far as there's a few, quite, like I said, quite a bit of mistakes. Are like, but when you got to throw in the asterisk, celebrity. If these were 2 trained wrestlers, you'd be like, what was that happening? But with celebrity, it's the same if you put a wrestler in an acting. Like, there's an asterisk by it. So, women's match, moving on to Tessa Blanchard, Chelsea Green, the hot mess, Madison Rayne, and Britt Baker. So I had seen all these girls wrestle except for Britt Baker. Chelsea Green I'd only seen, obviously, from Tough Enough, and I've seen a few things here and there. I saw the hot mess gimmick because when that came out, I was kind of like, what's going on here? Obviously, check that out. So I want to start off with just saying some things about them, which is a 4-corner survival match. I don't know why it's a survival. When they said survival match, I was assuming it was going to be elimination, but I guess not. So Britt Baker, like I said, Baker, I'm adding an R there. Hadn't seen her before. She was good. She was very quick, very fast. I think her and Chelsea Green still have a little ways to go, especially now with women's wrestling all over the place. It's just becoming so fine-tuned, and it's up there with men's. And I know people talk about the Diva era and whatnot, but there was a time where there's only a few girls or women on the roster that could do that or were afforded the opportunity to do that. So now there is a higher bar. There is women multiple times putting on match of the year. A few years ago, Sasha and Bayley put on a match of the year. I think Asuka and Charlotte had the best match at WrestleMania. So it is a higher bar. I'm not saying they're so low. I'm just saying that there were times where the ring work wasn't pitch perfect, and Britt Baker, I didn't get a sense of much of her character. She came out, apparently she was a doctor, MD. I'm not sure if she is in real life. That's just her gimmick, but just because it's a strange gimmick. So I didn't get much gauge of if I liked her, disliked her. She was there, and like I said, she had a good moveset, but I thought needed to be fine-tuned a bit. And same with Chelsea Green, there was a few times that were not as smooth, especially when it was Green and Baker and they're together. That was one thing which was so funny when Blanchard and Rain were in there. They were doing perfect, and I pointed this out to the person I was watching with, and then something I screwed up on a roll. I was like, oh, of course. But you could see when Green and Baker were facing off, and then Blanchard and Rain were facing off, there was just a higher quality between those two. So I'm not sure if you should have split that and put more higher quality one with someone that's still learning, or I guess they want to just have it that way to the two best and the two, I don't want to say weaker, but two lower as far as, in my opinion, quality in ring. So I got that from both of them. And with Chelsea Green, I like the character. The only thing I have a complaint is I feel sometimes she says and does too much character stuff in between moves. Like when she did that luchador, like the thing Eddie used to do, when he takes the arm, he runs at the turnbuckle and walks the ropes, and he would usually do a Hurricane Rana, obviously like old school, for Taker, not for Eddie. She, I think like 3 times, like wrung arm, said something, went to the turnbuckle, did something, spanked her ass, and then like walked her over and did something again, and then did, like, there's too much posing for me for the character, and it took me out of a little bit of, it is this weird thing in wrestling where it's like, I can believe a guy's going to stand there for 10 seconds, get dived on, but sometimes certain situations I just go, this is a little too much for me. So that was one of those. Blanchard, this is a thing that I'm still surprised she is in the independent. She was, obviously she's been wrestling for a while, she's Tully's daughter, but she was in the Man Classic last year. I think she had one of the best matches with Kairi Sane. Well, I don't think she was, but I think that was just a first round, right? I think that was the big deal. It was one of the big ones, like, oh, who's going to lose? Because they're both bigger deals. I don't understand why she's still here, because I feel like she is every single thing WWE's looking for. She has the legacy, she has a great look, and she's fucking great in the ring. She's killer. She is, I think she might be, I'm saying this very just, off the cuff. I think between maybe her, Toni Storm, and I don't have much experience with women wrestling because it's, to me, a little harder to find. Maybe it's not, let me know. But it's not on, like, New Japan doesn't have it. Ring of Honor has a small section of it. I think those two are probably the best unsigned WWE talent, and I believe Toni Storm is signed now. So, Tessa Blanchard, I don't know why. It's fine, great. Like I said, the independence all in is thriving. I'm not saying, like, oh, you gotta go to WWE, it's this higher big leagues. It still is. It's a fucking billion-dollar corporation. But, and I'm not saying that has to be the end goal. With Japan, ROH, and now this, there are other goals you can achieve. It's not just WWE anymore. But for me, I just never understood why they let her go, because I feel like they have everything you would want with her. So, don't understand. Even with Charlotte, you can do the time, the 4 horsemen. I don't know. So this was a good match. Kind of messy here and there as far as, not even as bad, just lots going on. A classic fatal 4-way. It was just a fun, good showcase for the women. A different type of ending where she hit, I think she hit some sort of modified DDT. She goes for the pin, and then Rain and Baker go to break it up. And the timing of it looked like they had broke up the pin, but it was still 3 count, so they didn't show a replay of that, so I wasn't sure if they actually broke it up, and that's why my mind clicked in, or they just timed it right. And I like that, because it's a finish to make you think, and you go, oh, was that supposed to happen? I think that hurt the show later on, but with this case, if they're going for that, I like that. So, a little off, but, it was good. It was good to get some women on there. I think you could probably use another women's match on there. That would have been nice, because other than Brandy, the women kind of went away. I guess you had, I think her name's Penelope, the bad girl, and she was big standout in the match with Hangman. So let's go to the 6th match, I guess technically, because you've counted the other 2. Nick Aldis with Cody Rhodes. Okay. So I think this match is a match about moments. It's not a match about a match. And I know probably some people are going to be like, oh, you're going to excuse it because if you didn't like the match. I'm not going to. I think it was just a fine, decent match. What should I go? Let's start for me with the negatives. Then I'm going to switch into the positives. The negatives for me was just a fine, decent match. I think this needed to be more than that, especially with such a big moment of Cody winning the title that his father had held so many years ago. NWA title, super prestigious title, 10 pounds of gold, looks fucking great. Still, the classic titles just have just so much better looks, you know, and that's what I do like most of the NXT titles, to be honest. I love just a classic, subtle, like that North American Championship. I'm a big fan of. UK Championship. So I like the older style, so I'm glad that belt is circling around. I think the match needed to be have a bit more of an epic feel, so when Cody won, to me, it was like a sigh of relief. I think they tried that, and I think that's what hurt them, and I maybe want more of the epic match feel as far as something like, it's tough because you don't have the history, but almost like what Kenny and Cody wrestled last month, where it was more of a grueling match. I think for me, the few reasons why it was just a decent, fine match, and I think, I don't know, to me, I think this would be one of the lower matches if I were to rank them. It's going to be Stephen Amell and Daniels, and then I think this is somewhere in there with the women's match and then the MGF versus Matt Cross. Maybe it's a little higher because of the moments, but I thought the match, I didn't think they had the greatest chemistry. I'd watched a few of Nick Aldis in the past when I was watching TNA when he was Magnus. I was never a fan. I never really saw much there other than he looks like $1 million. He still looks like $1 million. He looks better now because he's super jacked, but a few reasons I do think that's it, because I've seen Cody Rhodes have many great matches. Cody Rhodes I'm a big fan. I'm wearing his American Nightmare shirt right now. I want the Bullet Club one with the blonde hair and everything. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan for multiple reasons. I think a few months ago he was the best heel in the business. Getaway Ciampa, Getaway Lesnar, Joe, everything like that, Jay White. I think he was just, when he was doing this maniacal, like, obsessed with Kenny Omega and destroying the Bullet Club or making it his, he was on fire. The way he would interact with fans, the way he would interact with other characters, and the things he would just do off the cuff, and the way he would act, he was so pretentious, and just you wanted to him. You wanted to see the Bullet Club turn on because he was just a piece of garbage. And now he was kind of like a tweener, and now he's a babyface. I'd say he's somewhere in this limbo. So one, I think that hurts because I think he is much better suited heel. I think he's more comfortable with that, and he's been doing that for months. And I don't think this iteration of Cody with the dog and Brandy and everything like that, I think he could make it a babyface. And I think tonight he had to be babyface. By default, he created this event along with the Young Bucks. The crowd was going to cheer him no matter what. So if you just put him in there as a heel, it would have looked dumb. So I think they made the smart move there, but it's just, I think from a match standpoint, that has hurt. I've seen great Cody Rhodes matches. I've seen them with Ray. I've seen them with Randy Orton. I've seen them, he had the Shield matches he had with his brothers. There was a time, around that time when those were happening, that you felt like he was going to win Money in the Bank or get a push to the main title, because when he was having his IC title run was great, but with that stuff he did with the Shield, he was having great matches with Rollins and Ambrose and the tag team matches with the Brotherhood. He was on fire. I've seen him do great matches. And yeah, you can say, that's my point, is maybe Cody, people bust him all the time for not being the best in-ring worker. And I don't think he is. I really don't. I think it's all about his character, his promo, and I think he is a good to very good, and sometimes great in-ring performer. And it's all the dance partner. And you look at the Shield, you've got Roman Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins. Great workers. That's my thing, where I feel like Nick Aldis is just kind of cookie cutter. He has his move set. It's, power set, but there's nothing that pops. I didn't feel chemistry between them. Even then, I've seen great matches with Cody this past year. The match he had with Juice Wrestle Kingdom a couple years ago, not that bad. The match he had with Coda, the few ones he did were great. The two matches really the three, but I would say this past one he did with Kenny was phenomenal. The one at New Orleans was really, really good. The ending was a little iffy, but they set that up so it was better in that retrospective. And I feel like people don't talk about that. Not that first super American show they had with New Japan. The match he had with Okada was fucking so good. So that's the thing. Also, you can say, okay, there's all these other people that are more talented than him as far as in-ring work level, but he can raise up to that. If he is consistently a good to very good performer, when he's in there with someone great, he can become very good to great. He can get on that level. Maybe he can't bring other people up. And that's the point with this, where I think he didn't have the greatest dance partner with Nick Aldis. I think a few months ago when they were teasing Flip would have won, I think that would have been better chemistry. But then again, I think they wanted him to be the babyface, so I think it was him being a babyface hurt a little bit. Him with Nick Aldis, who I don't think is, in my opinion, shot some good matches, because I stopped watching TNA and I haven't been following NWA. So shot some good matches if you've seen them, and I would love to check them out. I just remember watching him in the past, being like, he's alright, and I got the same thing tonight. He's alright. And I remember when they announced, I wish Cody had a bigger match. Once again, it's with the bigger moments. We'll get to that. And then 3, and maybe this is the biggest one, the pacing of this match felt very off in the 2 instances where I just felt the match would start to kind of get going a little bit, find a jive, and then it would stop for a storyline segment, and it would start to get going, find a jive, and then it would stop, and then at one point it got uber slow, and then it started to get jive again, and then, so what happens is, so they're wrestling, and then they do this, I can't even remember what the setup was for, but they do this thing where Earl Hebner throws up the X, and they're playing with, almost like I said with the women's match, if oh, was that finished supposed to happen? This is like, okay, there's an X, what's going on? We're supposed to be concerned for Cody. When he throws up the X, it's revealed that storyline, because just DDP comes down, and you're like, oh, okay. But even for a while, I was worried that, so what I was saying was the X happened, and this is the thing where I don't think they really hooked me in as far as took me out of the match. I think their design was, throw up an X, we think Cody might be hurt. When we see blood, we go, oh my god, something bad might happen with Cody. Oh, he still continued the match. I think that's what they wanted. What I took out of it was they throw up the X, DDP came down, and then Sean Daivari came down because they go, maybe Cody's like, fuck, this is all, and this is the biggest thing. I think I could still go. Maybe find a way to give me some time. So DDP comes down there, Sean Daivari gets down there, he's arguing with the ref, he hits him with the diamond cutter, and then we go back to Cody, and he's still kind of laying there for quite a while. So to me, there was this limbo of, I wasn't fully checked in again of like, oh, this is just complete storyline, because it was so slow and honestly a little awkwardly paced that I thought maybe he is hurt. And then because if he's not hurt and they make it so obvious, I go, oh, they're playing with us, but at least I can invest, like, this is what they're doing. For a while, I did wonder if he was hurt, not because of the way he was selling it or people around. It was just things were going so slow. It felt like when they need to buy time in other matches. I just watched SummerSlam a few weekends ago. 97, when Owen and Steve happened, and he drops on his head. And Owen, for like 30 seconds, does the panic crowd. He's gonna kiss my ass, like all that stuff. And it feels awkward. It feels like they're buying time. That's what this felt like, and I don't think that was the case. I think it was so he could blade, but it slowed down the match. And then after that, the match got very slow. And granted, fine, because he is a bloody mess. That's what they want to go for. But I felt like the momentum had completely gone. It wasn't really that high pace. It was just finally starting to kick into gear, and then it slowed down. You know, like the best way and the most graphic way I can say this is if you're having sex and you're about to have an orgasm, and then someone just stops and you're on the brink, and then it's like, well, now we gotta take quite a while to get there. This wasn't even that. This was just still kind of like halfway through, like, oh, I'm getting there, and then we stopped. It's like, oh, okay, why are we slowing down? Okay, like, well, let's get back into this. Like, they should have done the slow down match when things were really heated up, and I think just because they didn't have the greatest chemistry, we weren't gonna get to that. And then with this on top of it, slowed it down. The match got really slow, and then they did this stuff with Brandy, which was starting to work, which I really liked of her just cheering him on. It looked like Cody was gonna tap, and she's like, "You can do this," and she like willed him to the ropes. I like that. I didn't like her getting in the ring and taking the elbow for Cody, because I felt like tonight they were just going with, he's being fully babyface. And it wasn't even like Cody coming in being cocky and it's like, we love him because he made the show. He was just full on. He had fucking friends of his dad. He had dreamers wearing polka dots. He has his dog. You're not going to move a guy who has a dog. He has his gorgeous wife. He's acting very babyfacey. He's almost in tears. He's not cocky at all. But then we get shades of the old Cody and Brandy thing that they did with Kenny, which worked phenomenally when he was a heel. But with this, it was off because it's like, one, now it looks like Cody's trying to cheat, even though it's just Brandy protecting her husband, but still kind of looks like that. And then they play off this like, oh, did Nick Aldis mean to elbow his wife? And we never get this moment where, okay, he does that, and let's say Cody sees Brandy hurt, and he's just like, you motherfucker, like, you put your hands on my wife, you're going to pay for that. I was like, okay, I can see that. But it never really happens. We just continue wrestling the match, and it just, those instances always put the pacing off. Cody run with a roll-up, and the win was great because you could see his emotion, and that's where the pauses were for this. The entrance for this, both ways, was great. The build to the match was great. It's because Cody always talks about like how Hogan and Rock is his favorite match. He thinks it's the greatest match of all time. It had that feel of the crowd doing the "fuck you" all this chant. When you see Cody in the hall walking with Tommy, walking with DDP, and he is holding back tears, this felt real. I honestly had goosebumps in this moment. I was sit up in my chair, I'm like, I cannot wait. Like, I have my reservations about all this in this matchup, but this is gonna be great. This just feels like a big match feel. And then the match happened, and it kind of lost it. But then at the end, when he did win, and the celebration happened, and he was there, it felt like a big match feel, and there were those moments. So that's the thing. It had good moments. It was not an awful match. It was just, like I said, just a decent match. Nothing that I'm gonna forget about. I'm just gonna remember the entrance. I'm gonna remember those few spots. Yeah, he bladed. I assume so. So that was good to see because we don't get to see that much often. Added some certain stakes to the match. But yeah, I think some stuff was off, and it was I think I can't say missed opportunity because I think they still got there in the end. But I think his win could have been much better, much more of a bigger relief if it was the match was done differently, or maybe it was a different opponent. So you could disagree with me there, but I think that segment was more about the moments than the match, and the match was just fine. So that was that, and I'm excited to see. And I guess we can talk about that. I'm excited to see what they do with the NWA title on Cody because I wasn't sure if he could do that because he's American ROH exclusive. So obviously tonight was like an Avengers of Independence. We got to see so many crossovers: Mexico, ROH, New Japan, NWA, so and just other people, just independent wrestlers. So obviously there's a shift happening in professional wrestling outside of WWE. But I'm excited to see what he can do there, and yeah, I'm excited to see his next match against somebody not Nick Aldis. Hopefully it's not a rematch, but I think Cody can go in the ring and he can put on fucking great matches. And I think lots of people that watch this that maybe are outsiders are going to use this against him, like, oh, it's just fine. But he can go. I think he needs a good dance partner. And maybe he's still super young. I think he can get to that part where he can elevate people. And I think he needs to be a heel. I honestly do. So there you go. That's that. Cody Rhodes, Cody, new NWA champion. Congratulations. And then a lot of people are going to say, you know, him, Bucks, Kenny, Hangman, oh, all these guys are winning, you know. I feel like the Cody one makes sense because we don't even know. NWA Billy Corgan would be like, we want Cody as a champion. Kenny to me makes sense because he's the IWGP champion. You don't want him to lose. The Bucks and then Hangman Page. Hangman, you need that set for Joey. And you know, fine, you can make that claim to the Bucks. But at the end of the day, this could be a one-time event. They should win. You know why? Because all these guys are getting paid. Some of these guys are wrestling on the biggest stage of their life because these guys create a fucking YouTube show and start, you know, like, kill the business. If they get a win, if they want to book themselves to win, if they want to go over, I think we could be okay. But I'm sure people are going to use that against us. I've already seen that already. But I think it makes sense for the most part. And it's not a big show with big stakes. Like, other than WWE title, they're just wins. It's like a special exhibition celebration of professional wrestling. Let's see here. What do we got? Hangman Page versus Joey Janela. I think I've said this anytime I've talked about Hangman Page and New Japan or ROH. He is a fucking stud, and I just feel like Triple H just is watching this guy and just salivating. And not just because he looks like a young Triple H. I think he's like the Tessa Blanchard thing. I think he has everything they want. He has the size, he has the look, he has the charisma, he has amazing in-ring skill. Like, not only can he be a great wrestler, he's high-flying, he's doing standing shooting star presses off of ring aprons. His character work is great. As far as like being the elite, sometimes that's why I feel like with him and Marty, they just stand out so much that WWE loves because they're so character-based. I always worry they're going to screw them up, and I don't want that to happen at all. First time seeing Joey Janela, it was a very, very good match. This was just a match where they beat the tar each other. They took, I think, quite a few risks that as I've gotten older, when you're a younger fan, you just want to see blood and action. Once you're this age, you of course want to see the guys go out there and bust their ass off and put a good match, and you get entertainment out of it. But there was a few times in this match I looked away with the one eye open. When they did that bump with the Cracker Barrel and then the ladder on the ring, the way Joey hit, he did not bounce. There's so many times where you see people take, and obviously no matter what, a ladder is gonna hurt, a ladder bump. But when you see him, they'll hit and then do like kind of the double bounce. He just fucking hit. And he just slid right off. Like he had like a mini bounce. And then they show the ladder and there's a dent. And then later on, I can't remember, I think he took a ring apron bump. And then he did that so scary bump where they're on the ramp, which I like the ramp. I wish they would have used more, honestly, because I like ramps. I love that in ECW. It's fun, you know, it's something different. They do this thing where there's the ramp, there's the stairs, and there's 2 tables. Hangman Page powerbombs them over the stairs onto a table. It was nuts. Like the amount of bump. And then he took Page's finisher off the ladder with a telephone cord wrapped around his throat. I don't know if this is why people, because I've heard a lot of good things about him when people announce like, oh, he's gonna kill it. And I was a little thrown off guard because body type, not the greatest, not the best looking guy, and I have known nothing about his ring skill, and I didn't get much sense of his character. I think they could have done that a bit more in Being the Elite. Maybe it didn't work out, but they only had that one segment, I think, on the Go Home show, where he like crashes the autograph signing and blows smoke in his face. I knew he was a bad boy, the way he was acting, he's humping the ring, but almost would have wanted, like, for just myself, this is why me being an outsider, not knowing all the independents as well as so many others, I don't have much experience with them, so I would have liked a promo, but that's where maybe that would have killed the vibe for the show for some people. So for me, I would like much more character. I love the way he interacted with Penelope. Anytime you got a female manager and you're really interacting, doing stuff with her, that works. I've always hated when a manager just walks them out kind of like a ballet and they stand there and they cheer, they clap. When it's like, you know, the classic like Edge and Lita sort of situation, Macho Elizabeth, when you can feed off each other and do stuff, like even Triple H and Steph do such a great job of that. Like WrestleMania when they've been doing it, and Cody and Brandy as well. When you really use your manager, that's great. And she took bumps. That's something I'm not used to is intergender wrestling. Also, we had a female in the Battle Royal earlier. But with this, when Hangman Page super kicked her, I gasped because I've been trained so much now because I watched WWE for so many years. Girls don't take bumps like that anymore. So I gasped. I'm like, right, that's kind of a thing now. And she got her licks in him. She beat the crap out of Hangman Page. It was great. So those two together were good. I became a fan. I still want to see more because with a street fight, you can never know someone's full in-ring style because there's a lot of brawling, right? So I'd like to see him in an actual match, and this is something I'm going to go out and look. I'm going to have my eye on him. So I really liked him, and this thing, I think he just gained more of my respect than more than me really like him. I do like him after this, but I'm not like, man, I've got to see the next Joey Janela match. I want to see it because I want to see his in-ring style. But it's not something like when I saw Kota Ibushi wrestle for the first time in the Cruiserweight Classic. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm going to follow him and I'm a big fan. This was like, I respect the hell of you and I'm going to go do some homework on you. But I'm not like, man, I've got to see the next Joey Janela match. Because a street fight, there's so much weapons and brawlings and fists and knees and stuff like that. That sometimes, like, I think they did good psychology for a street fight. But I want to see what it is like in an actual match. The match was great. It was hardcore. Great payoff with Joey Ryan. I still don't know why Joey Ryan and Hangman Page did not have a match at this event, especially because Joey Ryan's there already. And I thought they might have a quick match right after, but I get the feeling that maybe they are building to another event. I don't know if that's an all-in-two. Oh, Joey Janela's going to be cracking his neck a lot after tonight. I don't know if they're building to an all-in-two or whatnot, or what the deal is. I don't even know if Joey Ryan where he is, but I was always caught off guard, like, this is the big build-up, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, they may want the content for being the elite with the boots and everything like that, because the second Ryan's back alive, you lose that stuff, but, and I can't believe he admitted that he killed him at the press conference, just shit like that's so funny. But, so if that leads to that, which I think it is, then I'll take this back, but I still think he should have versed Joey Ryan, but I think they are leading to that, kind of the same way it seems like they're saving Cody versus Flip, so I feel like they have some stuff in their back pocket for the future. And then, sorry, I got the hiccups. And then a bunch of guys wearing like inflatable penis suits came out. Joey Ryan came up, he oiled himself up, he attacked Hangman Page. Hangman's reactions was great. When he sees Joey alive, this is why I think like they need to worry that he's going to scoop him up. Because that's very much like with WWE and their comedic angles and whatnot. Just when you saw his face, and any time he's been on Being the Elite, like that episode with Kenny and he got the book, he's like, oh, I could kill someone for it. And there's a picture tonight when they're like, oh, Hangman's all in. And he's just like looking at the camera like a fucking crazy person. He's outstanding. The penis is taking him off. Being the Elite's going to be so much fun to see what happens. But really, really good match. I think that was the third best match of the night. And then we get to Jay Lethal versus Flip Gordon. I thought it was a good match. I didn't, there wasn't anything that caught me off guard of me very much disliking. There wasn't anything that I overly loved other than some of the few spots. They had some fun with Black Machismo and him thinking Brandy was Elizabeth and they did the hoist up in the shoulder. But I think it was good. I think Flip, when I watched Flip in the junior heavyweight, what do they call it? Is the World Cup? I don't think it's a World Cup, but whatever that tournament is that they had a couple months ago, and fuck, who they won that? Takahashi won that. Hopefully he's doing all right. He won that, and Flip to me is very good. He's very stylized, but I feel like, and I'm going to say this as a person that doesn't wrestle, never wrestled in his life, just been watching wrestling, I still feel like he doesn't have the story aspect. I feel like this was a bit better from what I saw, but I feel like what I like in wrestling, that's why I've been a big fan in Japan, I like stories. We're going to get to that in 2 matches later on. I feel like his is a lot of sizzle on the steak, but not too much substance yet. And to me, this is me saying this of, I think he's going to get there, because I see little flashes of it. There's certain times where I still think the flip stuff is still too much. Like, it's impressive, but when he does that flip thing back and forth, that's another wrestler thing. I'm like, why don't you just kick him? Which, again, is contradictory, where a guy will stand there and for 10 seconds, I have no problem with that. So you can call bullshit on that, and I'll say, yeah, I'm right, I'm bullshit on that. But yeah, this was good. I was expecting it to be better, honestly, than I thought, and I watched much Jay Lethal when I did was in the thick of Black Machismo stuff, and he's put on a lot more weight, and I don't mean like fat, I just mean like muscle, and I don't know if that helped him. I just feel like I remember any Jay Lethal match I've seen in the past year being like, oh, that was good, where I remember in the past always feeling his was a stand-up. I was hoping this was going to be the case, and no, actually it was great to see Lanny out there. It was great to see him do the Black Machismo stuff. I think this became, because him switching back and forth, I think this became more of a comedy match than a match, and I think that's why I thought this was kind of just middle of the road match. So it was good. I liked the angle though of Flip winning the Battle Royal to get here, and of course Flip's gonna be on this. You know, I almost think though, because I was watching the end, he won the Battle Royal, and then they were showing all the matches, and when they showed Flip versus Jay Lethal, he got a huge fucking pop. I almost wish they should have done it right after. At first I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But it felt like the momentum of the book flip thing, it didn't really die out, but it felt like, man, if you would have won the Battle Royal and then it's like, boom, we're going in right to Black Machismo and Jay Lethal, it would be like, maybe he can win this, he could win this. So that was my one thing. I will say also, I really enjoyed that if it was a New Japan match, if it was Ring of Honor, if it was just an independent match, you had Justin Roberts, you had different announcers, you had different referees. This felt like a big dream match, like crossover of independent shows. You know, that's what I like. They all their different styles. Like the ROH president came out to present the belt. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, I just thought it was a nice little touch, and maybe that's something that had to happen. But if it did, I think it benefited the show because it made it feel more special. It made you feel like these are things we'd never see happening, and they're happening. And then obviously Bully Ray came out and attacked Lethal and Flip Gordon, and then Cole Cabana and Kid Singh. Pretty pointless. I think other than to give Cole Cabana maybe a nice moment in Chicago, it didn't serve its purpose. I don't think it was needed. I don't understand. I think the other reason was too because Colt was already in the Battle Royal, so if we hadn't seen him, I think it would have been. I think that would have been much better if Colt had not wrestled at all, and then he made the save. He hit some music, and it's like, oh, Colt Cabana, you know, Chicago's favorite son. Because we had already saw him, I felt it was underwhelming, and I also felt like that setup of like, oh, could this be a bigger person? Also, you have people, you know, out there like a Neville or a CM Punk, you know, things like that. So when you do the kind of setup, who's gonna come in, my mind did start to wonder, and that's the good thing about the show. The show wasn't hurt by not having those people. Like when this whole thing started, you're like, oh, they need Punk, they need Daniel Bryan. They didn't, and that's why they didn't need the spot either because it didn't do anything. So let's see. What was after that? I think while I'm looking, I'm going to take a drink. So here we go. Kenny Omega versus Pentagon Jr., who apparently Pentagon has like 5 fucking different names. To classify this, I've seen clips of Pentagon. I think I saw a good portion of his match with Sami Callihan, but not the full match. I don't even know why. I think it just popped up on YouTube. I was watching it while I was bored, and then something came up. Not much experience with Pentagon. I just know that he has a lot of hype going around. People seem to be big fans of him, and I understand why. It was very much like when I heard a lot about Nakamura, and I'd watched some New Japan stuff, but I was there live when he had his match with Sami Zayn, and after that I was like, I want to see Nakamura versus everybody on the W roster because he's so fun to watch. That was what I got from Penta. If you know me, if you don't, Kenny Omega is my favorite wrestler in the world right now. Yeah, really original, right? But I just think he's so good. In-ring style, character, everything. Because just the essence he brings in. He has finesse. And that's what I loved about this match. The story of this match was, the way I would compare it is like, Kenny Omega is Captain America. This by the books, like training really hard, finesse, makes everything look solid, fluid, good, has a plan, versus Wolverine. And that's Pentagon, who's just going to get in there and fuck you up. And that's what I like, because other than from my time watching New Japan, and they had said that in commentary, so I'm going to tend to believe that I was right. The only time I've seen that with Kenny is when he versed Jericho last year at Wrestle Kingdom, because that was the big stress of Kenny Omega's a great wrestler, but he's not a big fighter. And even Don Cal said that today, like Pentagon, when he was taking to him outside, he's like, this is not good for Kenny. Like, he's not a fighter, he's a wrestler. And that's why I like it was these two styles of a guy who trains really hard and is all about making things look precise and having precision to kind of outwit and outsmart his opponents, where Pentagon is just, you'll hit him with a couple B triggers and he's still doing, zero fear, and you're like, what the fuck? And he's like getting in your face. And then what set up perfectly to me, the reason I was in this match from the start, is when he did the zero fear thing, and Kenny was like, he pushed his hand away and had enough of it, and then he took off the glove to like show him like, oh no, zero fear, and then Omega gave him a smack, not a hard smack, but just like almost like a playful kid smack, and then they just started going at it, and Pentagon like kicked his ass for the first, 5 minutes of that match. Like, Omega got some offense in there, but most of the time Pentagon was cutting him off or taking him out. It was phenomenal. I'm not going to break it down move by move. It was just great because it started with Omega trying to be like wrestler Omega, like, I'm going to out-wrestle you, and it wasn't working. And then eventually Omega just went down dirty, like, okay, I'm going to have to start fighting. And they did some really fucked up shit. The pile drivers in this were very scary. The two that scared me was, so Omega did, I guess I'm going to add more order. Penta did a package pile driver on the ring apron. Pile driver alone now is scary, especially it's even more scary that because it's banned in a lot of organizations, so now it's in the back of your mind, like, this is a banned move. There's a reason we've seen it break people's neck. On the ring apron, my God, didn't need to happen, but they're doing it for the live crowd, they're doing it for the show, they're putting on a damn good match. And then when Omega did like a package pile driver, like it was a spinning airplane package one, and when he put Penta to the ground, Penta looked like he landed head first. And even with Kenny, when he landed on the ring, it looked like he hit his head. And maybe they're just great professionals, but the way the angles were, it looked like, because you're supposed to, land lightly there or land more on that crotch, like thigh area. Both of them did not look that way. So hopefully they're not too hurt. But this match was great. That's what I loved most, was the story of a wrestler kind of deteriorating and say, well, if I'm going to have to fight this motherfucker, that's what I'm going to have to do. And he beat him with the one-winged angel, and it was great. I go back and forth with this in the next match, which was match tonight. I honestly think it's a tie. I don't know. It's tough because I love this one, and this was one that the second it was done, I was like, you can't, because he's in Mexico, and this felt like a dream match. And I don't even know Pentagon, but this felt like that feeling of like we're seeing something special, because just with them looking at each other and the crowd getting excited and that moment of Omega slapping him, it felt like we're seeing two things like the Marvel crossover that we usually never see. And as someone that doesn't not watch Mexican wrestling on Lucha Underground and doesn't know much about Penta, the crowd atmosphere sold it, and the announcers did a good job selling it. There was some announcing that I don't know who the main guy is from Ring of Honor. I don't even know it was him because I don't know the voice. I like Don Callis. The other two guys, I think they're good, and then other times they're a little, just too, not even cheesy, just didn't flow with me, a little, tripping over their words a little too much. I don't know. I didn't love the commentary. I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I wasn't annoyed by it. So that's one thing I'll be the classic, like, that's how in WWE lots of times I kind of roll my eyes. This was times where it's like, this isn't the greatest, but I'm not like, fuck, like, maybe I should mute this or just kind of tune them out. It was fine. Other than I like Don Callis quite a bit. Great match. I want to see more of these two. I know it's probably not going to happen, but especially for guys that, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure, no matches on house shows, live events anywhere because they're promotions. Not even like New Japan where you'll have like Zack Sabre Jr. and Kenny Omega. They're having their first match for the night before they're in a taking match. So they can at least feel each other out. They're going in like two virgins and they just have the greatest sex ever. This was, I don't think, a 5-star match because I honestly would have wanted to go a little longer, but it was great. And like I said, I'm not going to star match, but I'd probably tie with the match tonight. If not, it's one we talked about for a while because I really enjoyed it because it was just a great clashing of characters. Which, speaking of clashing of characters, we finally had the heavyweight Marty Scurll versus Kazuchika Okada. Obviously, this has been building up like almost like a small little burn. Most time on Being the Elite, it's just been Marty being like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat Okada," and everyone's just saying you're fucked, and he's trying to bulk up. And then when they did sprinkle Okada in, just like, just looking at him. And then when they had him do the 205 Live stuff, and he did the 2 and the 0 and the 5 on one episode, and they paid that off after in this match. it was a fun little build, and I felt like that one had the most storyline. I don't watch ROH, so Cody and Aldis, I saw that they were doing promos, so I guess that had that really. But still, for me, the most as far as two people going at it in the world that I am, this felt like the most promoted, and this was one of the first matches. And this is a match that I really want to see. I love Marty Scurll, loves in-ring work. His character work is phenomenal. He's so fucking good on being the Elite. He is. I usually steals the show. But all around, he has great charisma, he has great ring work, he has great care about his character, like ring entrances and his gear. He's just always, I feel like when he's coming, I sit up and I'm like, okay, Marty Scurll, I gotta pay attention. And I feel like that with most time with the guys. I feel like I'm always with that with Cody and Kenny. Young Bucks sometimes, Hangman sometimes, Flip, not really. But Marty, to me, is up there with Cody and Kenny. Anytime they're on, I'm watching, I'm looking. This was like Jack and the Beanstalk, and that's why I like that this match started with Okada being so cocky, and because Okada's back to being like fucking awesome Okada, and I'm so happy I can like fully love Okada now, because I did. He is honestly one of the best in the world. I could say he might be second, because I think Kenny is. He could be second. You could make a case for number one, and I would understand, but I could never be a full fan, because I always had this asterisk of like, for me, when I was starting to watch New Japan, he was a champion, and I was, whether it was Omega or Naito, I was like, man, I really want to see a change, and I want to see this go over. And I'd gone from, a previous company where, certain guys just stay at the top for so long. When you have Cena, and then you have Roman, and then you got Brock, it's like kind of same old. So I was like, I'm loving everything in New Japan, and I'm still loving the top guy because he's putting on these great matches. But still, like, I still want him in the top, but let me have someone else at the title. Give him Naito, give him Omega. Now that's happened, I just like fully love Okada now. I can fully appreciate, like, fuck, he's so good, and he really was in this match. This is, other than Omega matches, it's tough to say because he has some really good ones on Tanahashi, but this is one of my favorite Okada matches because of, maybe it's not your classic New Japan 40-minute just in-ring brutal style, but I love the character work of Okada being so cocky. He's lost the fucking balloons, thank God. But even he said that to the announcers, and the commentators said that he's done playing around. He's done playing the jovial, like Okada, like, I'm here to have a good time, I'm trying to wrestle, I'm trying to get some wins. No, he's becoming, I am the record breaker, one of the greatest IWGP champions of all time, Okada. And that's what this felt like. This felt like, I said, Jack and the Beanstalk, where Marty Scurll is doing all the stuff at the beginning. He's trying to beat this guy who is out of his league, who we've been told this whole time is out of his league, and he's just trying to prove the world on, in their careers, is the biggest night ever that he can beat this guy. And Okada believes his own hype. When they did the shoulder checks and Marty was running and he tried to shoulder check and didn't get him, and Okada was like, let me try. Marty's like, do it. And Okada just knocked him down. And just this look of just like, why am I even wrestling this guy? But then as the match went along, Marty's outsmarting him. He's doing stuff. Okada's falling on his own sword. When he had him for the Rainmaker and he did the 205 and then Marty got his fingers, it showed, yeah, he's being that arrogant, cocky Okada, but he's going too overboard. He's buying into his hype way too much, and he's letting Marty get the best of him. Where if Okada just singled on him like he was a ever heavyweight, there's a chance he could have beat Scurll much faster, but he didn't. He underestimated Marty Scurll, and Marty Scurll's taking all these advantages. Like the times where he does the just kidding kick, he did like a couple psych outs that changed it differently, the way he got the chicken wing in on multiple occasions. Phenomenal match. That's why I almost liked the story a little bit better. So if I had to pick a favorite, I'd give this match a little bit of a bump. I love it. It's one of my favorite matches of the year because I love this, like the character stuff, and I love that slowly but surely he was winning them over, and they didn't do a moment where they shook hands and hugged anything because you got Chaos and Bullet Club, but it still felt like this, like, Marty Scurll, yeah, you know what, he didn't beat Okada, but man, he got close. And Okada, like, really, other than the G1 that, like, both years, on regular schedule, he's maybe just lost to Omega in the past 2 years, and that's about it. So, for him to get that close and to be in that category of, like, oh, you're up there with the rest of them, was phenomenal. So, I really, really enjoyed the match. Marty Scurll and Okada, best outfits of the night. Cody had great gear. I was a little disappointed, no jacket. He got to pump those American Nightmare shirts, so that's fine. Or the Nightmare family, whatever they are, so that's fine. But best gear, phenomenal. Then finally we had the main event. Then we had the 6-man tag. Really enjoyed it, lots of fun. The problem was you could tell it was really rushed, and because especially I felt like I got confirmation that it was rushed near the end because obviously it's like there's like 2 minutes of the pay-per-view. Young Bucks, I think it was Nick Jackson, he gets the pin and like, oh, they got the win and all in. They're like, wasn't All In a great event? Thank you for tuning in. And then it was like the, copyright and then All In. It was over. It was literally maybe 30 seconds, less than that, after they got the win, where they cut away. We didn't get to see the confetti. We didn't see. I thought there might be a thing where the Bullet Club and them, the Elite, come down, talk about thanking the fans. That might have happened after the thing, just because it's such a big event. Maybe they didn't want to show it on TV. I still think that's something that was needed for this show. I think because this was we done it sort of thing. If this was all on 2 or 3 of their promotion, then fine, just go off the air. But because this is a special event, I think it needed. Look at ECW One Night Stand when they got everyone in the ring together for a beer and everything like that. I think it kind of needed that sort of moment. So that's where it's disappointing. Ending, and the match was fun. Ray's gear, I'll go back on my word. He's up there with Okada and Skrull. The Wolverine gear was sick. This is kind of my first full matches watching of Phoenix and Bandito. Bandito, his mask is very weird. Throws me off. It looks like he has just a super long nose, but very talented guys. I really, really like Bandito, so I want to see more of him. It was a fun, really good, high action match. When Coda and Ray got in the ring together, that was another Goosebumps moment. It's like, oh man, here we go. Like another dream match sort of scenario, right? It was really good. I think it just needed a bit more time, whether it's time so the match didn't feel rushed at the end, or the more in the middle they could take a little bit more time and space things out and maybe sell a bit more. I don't ever have much of a problem. I feel like they still do sell enough. They're doing these quick moves, so I take it as they don't hurt as much. A lot of high flying moves, a lot of moves that are not fully hitting. But I would have liked a little bit more room to breathe. So hopefully this is the thing. Once again, pacing of a show, match placement, things like this. Now they know in the future, maybe take one match out, cut some time, because I think this did need some more time, and that's what hurt. To me, this is just a very good, fun match, but it didn't have that main level hype that it had coming out, and it had for the moments when it was Ray and Code. I'm like, oh, this is going to feel like a main event, but I feel like we didn't even get big square-offs like Ray and the Young Bucks and this and that, so I did want a little bit more. So it's not a terrible main event, but it doesn't have that big match feel, and I think it did, and I think it did leading up, but as the match went along, it got so quick, and I know they wrestled quick, but you could tell this was different than usual quick, and it felt rushed. So yeah, that was a match. It was good. Some good spots in there. Good chemistry between the guys. 6 of the best, really. I know I'm saying that about Phoenix and Bandito. I've only seen 2 of them, but they were really fun. There was one moment, I can't remember what the set it was, but I think it's when he was gonna go with the Meltzer driver, and Phoenix just literally just walked the ropes with no help whatsoever, just kicked one of the Bucks. Great stuff. And Ray, legend, and obviously it sounds like he's going back to WWE, so good way for him to close the show. And I think this was a good match to close out the show, but I do think that because it being rushed hurt it. And if I had my place, if this would have changed to still been the length, I would have put Kenny and Penta last. But you couldn't have because of the Jericho thing. I didn't talk about the Jericho thing. It's just for the crews. They got some, like a John Mayer, like CML, they get some press oh, Jericho was there, you should tune all in and watch out. But really, it's not leaning anything. It's just the cruise. The cruise is not going to be filmed, so it's just a deal. That's great. But I think I understand why Kenny wasn't last because that. So then you almost would put Marty and Okada, which is, I don't know if you want the non-Bullet Club guy winning. So I get why they put that there, and I wouldn't want the NWA Championship last, but I just wish it wasn't as rushed. So very great show. I'm giving this a rating of, I'm giving it an 8.4, which is just below an 8. Because I think between some I can 100% say that the 8.4 is a lot of hype. It's a lot of just feeling like they accomplished something, and I was happy the whole time. That was the feeling of, like I said, MJF versus Matt Cross, not one of the best matches ever, but it was a good, solid match, and the whole show was good and solid to great. I won't say sometimes, lots of times, but for me, I just had so much fun watching it. But the reason it's not getting an A is because some technical problems, some pacing problems, and some matches didn't fully deliver. If I give a show an A, it has to be one of the best pay-per-views. If this didn't have the hype going in, honestly, I could see this being maybe a 7.5 or something like that, a high C+. But for me, the hype and the closing on the storylines and seeing one-time scenarios, that, like I said, it felt like it had so much care in it. This felt like this was a show for me and for the fans of this product. And that's what I love. It was made specifically for us. I can't say enough good things about that. Yeah, there was some problems. It wasn't a perfect night, but damn, it was so much fun. I hope they do it again. I want to see more of this. I want to see wrestling continue to grow. WWE's always going to be top dog. But let's see what happens. They sold out Madison Square Garden. Let's see what happens. Let's grow, because I like WWE, but I don't, for me, I didn't love the direction they're in. And for me, I was falling in love with wrestling. I don't want to do this. this is why I'm a big fan of the show. When I started watching New Japan or ROH and these guys, they made me fall back in love with wrestling. They made me fall wrestling at a point was wouldn't recommend that to people. You know, we started doing some watch alongs on GeekVerse and we didn't do that anymore. It's like, I'm not even having fun, so why do I want to do that? This has made me passionate about wrestling again. I love these guys. I'm happy for all the success. I hope people bought, you know, the hell of the show. I did it, threw down like $45. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know what you thought about the show. Where was I wrong? Where was I right? Anything you want to add, let me know. Check out, we got a lot of content drop September, lots of movie reviews, retro shows. So thank you very much for tuning in for this all-in review. When you speak to me next time, I'll not be boring.